Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. What are the consequences of some of the things that are happening in the United States today, particularly what's happening when it comes to the Epstein files? I'm going to share my view on this from the perspective of a porn reboot coach who's been talking about this PDF situation and who has been talking about the way we view power, wealth, intelligence, beauty, and sex. Let's get into it. And this is not scripted, just thoughts that I've been having for a while. First of all, there's so many people, so many Americans who are frustrated, who are confused, who feel stuck because all the things that you previously believed are starting to unravel. All your sacred cows are being slaughtered. All the people that you put on a pedestal are being ripped off, or the pedestal is being ripped off from under them. And everyone is just so shocked and confused. I'm not. Men in my circle are not. And I hope some of my clients certainly aren't, because we've been talking about the reality of civilization and man for a very long time. Ending a behavior with pornography will really show you the difference between what is real and what is fake out there. But let's start with this. So many of us assume that when somebody has power, intelligence, good looks, or speaks in a spiritual way or claims to be spiritual, that somehow that they're not our moral peer, that they are somehow better than us. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. I have coached individuals who lead large congregations. I have spoken to men who are viewed to be great leaders, and I view them as great leaders themselves. But all of them are very human. They are fallible. They have the same weaknesses that you have around sex. They have the same weaknesses around certain substances, and they are prey to the same selfish, envious, evil thoughts that all of us are capable of having as well. So when you are surprised and hurt that these individuals are being ripped from their pedestals, I want you to take comfort in the realization that everybody is like that, or rather everybody is capable of that, myself included. The problem with unfettered power and wealth and the way Americans put beauty and intelligence on a pedestal. Oh, Andrew Huberman. Oh, Peter Attia, or whatever the fuck his last name is. All these people, y'all place them on a pedestal and they become your gods. And you're shocked. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm no longer going to read their books. I'm not saying Andrew Huberman did anything. I'm just using him as an example. I'm not going to read their books. I'm not going to use their products. Why? Because you think they're monsters? They are no more monsters than you and I are. They are simply human. And it's time for us to start understanding that. I think if you can start viewing other human beings as fallible as you are, your life becomes so much easier. In fact, it becomes so much easier for you to succeed in many areas of life because now you see that they're not that different from you. What are the consequences of this? Well, as somebody who has, I'm not even in the United States right now, as somebody who has lived in different countries and who is currently getting homes on different continents, what I have learned is that leadership filters down. When people look at their leadership and what they see is corruption, or what they see is people stealing, when they see a lack of moral character, it is going to filter down. And they're going to think, if all these people that we looked up to are the way that they achieved their wealth, the way that they got to where they are was through lying and cheating and all these different things, then why shouldn't we do that? And you look at developing countries and you wonder, like, wow, why is it that at the lowest level, there's so much crime and corruption and there's just this shady way of operating? And we always have to be careful when we go to these countries. Well, it is a top-down thing. It's not that the individuals at the top didn't work hard to get there. It is just that they have disillusioned the people at the bottom who now think that there's no point in putting in the hard work. See, when you have that leadership position, you have such a great responsibility. And your responsibility is to maintain your reputation and actually live with character. But when you don't, all the hard work you did to get there is completely invalidated. Sure, you worked hard, but if you didn't develop character along the way, or you didn't learn how to harness some of your more baser instincts, then all the work you do has fallen apart. And the people at the bottom will start acting that way. So, what exactly do I mean? Unfortunately, what I mean is that all the things that you're seeing coming out in these Epstein files, all of these things in the long run are going to give permission to people who have been on the edge to go over the edge. And I say this as a fact with a lot of confidence. Let's just talk about the sexually deviant behavior that has been witnessed there. I will tell you, as probably one of the most, I would say, prolific pornography addiction recovery coaches in the US, that there are more people than you know that are into the material that depicts children being sexually abused. They're in your home, they're in your neighborhood, they're teaching your kids, they're taking care of your kids, they're in your churches. Your dads and your moms and your grandparents have been touched and affected by these people. And it has, because of the secrecy, the shame, and the taboo about talking about it, it has been passed down from generation to generation, especially in American society. Americans are the number one consumers of pornography on the planet. And there is a reason for that. But that's a topic for another video. But what I will say is because they're the number one consumers of pornography on the planet, below the surface, they're also the number one consumers of the images of abuse of children. Sure, other places might make it into the news, but in the United States, they are actively trafficking children. And the craziest part about how it happens in the United States is that it is your neighbors. It is people who are well dressed, who are respected, who you look up to, who you would never guess engage in that behavior, that are the very ones who are engaging in this behavior. And that is the most insidious thing about this country. You all are surprised that your leadership has been ripped wide apart and been exposed for who they are. But what you don't understand is that there's a certain strata of society that's already behaving that way. And there's another strata of society that's like, oh, there's permission to do that. And they're going to start engaging in this behavior. I have said it for years and years and years that we are headed to a place where this sort of behavior is going to be not only legalized, but is going to be permissive. And I know it sounds crazy and like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat, just as it did a decade ago when I was talking about this. But this is exactly what is happening. The more we talk about this and the more we put it out in the news, the more it becomes normalized. And if you notice, nobody's doing anything. Have you ever wondered why there's no outrage? You know, there's some cultures where something like this would happen and they would just burn down. They would burn down government buildings. People would be hung in the streets, but nothing's happening. The reason nothing is happening is because on a subconscious level, in this country, this behavior has been normalized. On a subconscious level, pornography has infiltrated every aspect of our lives. The reasons why the trans movement, that's transgender individuals, have become quickly accepted, and this, I'm not moralizing here, have become quickly accepted into American society. And all of these, their lifestyle has almost been written into law, has been because Americans view pornography of transgender individuals behind the scenes. So it doesn't mean that they're like they want that to happen. It just means they're not going to do anything because of the guilt and shame that they feel. So they don't want to be viewed as hypocrites, so they won't say anything about it. It's the same reason why there's so much sexual permissiveness now, because most Americans behind closed doors are watching pornography. Nobody wants to be a hypocrite, so nobody says anything. It's the same reason why when you see your freedoms being stripped away from you in front of your very eyes, you're not going to say anything, because behind closed doors, you have been consuming material that is promoting that. You're just hoping it doesn't come to your house. You're hoping that the sexual abuse doesn't come to your house. You're hoping that the governmental abuse does not come to your house. And you think that if you keep your head down and you just work hard, you're going to be okay. And that is not what is going to happen. So that's the consequence. The consequence is a country that is going to rot from the inside out, in my opinion. And of course, I'm just a guy on the internet. I think at the end of the day, I wrote some talking points here. So actually, I did cheat on this, but I think things are going to get worse before they get better. I believe that there's a certain group of people that are going to escape the frustration of what is happening in this country by escaping into drugs, alcohol, hedonism, doom scrolling, the internet, whatever AI has to offer. And there's another group that is going to escape into chasing more, the American way, chasing more power, chasing more wealth, chasing more intelligence, chasing all of these things. Both sides, I believe, are lost. There is a third option, and the third option is to opt out from all of this, to be in the world, but not of the world, to be in society, but not of society. So we have no choice but to be in society. We have no choice but to participate. But we also have the opportunity of going to the places where we are treated best. We also have the opportunity of safeguarding our wealth and diversifying it. We also have the opportunity of choosing the people who are around us. We also have the opportunity of guiding our ideology and what we consume. That's what rebooters do, as far as I'm concerned. So that option is available to every man and woman. And what we're doing here at Elevated Recovery and Porn Reboot is we are not participating in any of these things. We understand that they impact us. But what we're doing is we are picking and choosing the people who want to become a part of our tribe, the people who are looking to heal, the people who are looking for autonomy, the people who are looking for free will, the people who are critical thinkers, and the people who prioritize happiness. That is what we're doing moving forward. We're not just a for profit company, we are a vehicle for human transformation. So if any of this, anything I've said, resonates with you, then feel free to keep consuming our material or click on one of our links or do whatever the fuck you want to do. I actually don't care because the right people are already here with us and they keep coming and joining us. And I'm so glad to have them on our side. If on the other hand, you think like I'm a crazy kook that's just running his mouth about weird conspiracy theories, well, you keep hanging out there and doing what you're doing. What I do know is that even though I'm a random guy on the internet, every single thing that I've said from a human behavioral perspective that is happening in the United States was predicted and is happening. I'm not the best at this and I'm not right all the time, but I'm pretty damn good. And one last thing is that I actually live my life in a way that backs up these values. All the people around us do the same. So if you're trying to be in a place where autonomy, where free will, where critical thinking, where happiness is valued, and you'd like to strengthen those standards and values in your life, then join us. Whether it's through mentorship with 20s Mentor, or if you're dealing with a compulsive behavior, through Elevated Recovery. Those are my thoughts on that. I'm going to get back to work. Talk to y'all later. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.